All right, so Pete's saying it's on now. Excellent. Yeah, I didn't have it turned on. Usually helps, doesn't it? All right, so welcome to another episode of Earthworks Hub Live. So these are my Sunday live sessions where we get to start, I suppose, getting prepared for a new week of work and discuss a few topics. Usually Sunday afternoons, people aren't doing too much. Just like I said, prepping for work. So this is a good chance to talk about a few topics and kick off a new week. Um, Guys, grab a drink if you want to sit and get comfortable. We'll be here for about an hour. Ah, all right. There's a few people on now. Thank you for joining. So we've got Travis, Mandarin Jack, Nico. We've got the FSA Earth Moving, Wilson Civil Earthworks, Pete Rybelt, FSA Earth Moving. We've got a lot of people on, which is really good. I will make a start. So yeah, these are the weekly live sessions. Thank you for joining. Like I always do, I kick it off talking about a couple of things that I did during the week. Then I start a topic, and then I open up to everyone for questions. So if you've got something you want to ask, write it down so you can ask me. And then if you need to duck out or you need to leave earlier, these are going to be recorded, and I'm posting them up as podcasts. So you can see them, you can hear them or watch them on Spotify and on YouTube. So, and also on Apple Podcasts. So there you go. All right. So a quick shout out to all my sponsors. So you can see I'm wearing a Zoomline hat. So I'm officially sponsored now by Spartan Machinery as well. So thank you to Spartan for joining and sponsoring me. Basically, I've got Spartan. I've got to thank Network Finance, JR Safety Co, Melbourne Tractors, Next Gen Landscapes, and the Bolly Group. So, thank you very much, guys, for sponsoring. Like I always say, your sponsorship helps me continue on this quest, trying to help everyone in our industry. So, thanks very much. Um, I'll start off with a quick update on my project. So, Project Spalding. I'm building a warehouse where I used to keep all my machinery. So the warehouse is well underway. We have been creating or making panels there, or the concreters, not myself, but we're almost finished making all the panels because we're doing tilt up. So that means the tilt up panels are all the walls are being made on site, so they're not pre manufactured. They've got one that they're the second last one that they've meshed up and had it all formed ready to pour on Monday. And then once that dries, they'll start the last panel on top of that. And then that'll be it. Then once everything dries, they'll start raising the panels and putting up the walls. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think once the walls are up and a roof is on, I feel like that's the main part of the project. And then I can sort of see, the rest of it I can sort of do internally, But that'll be I suppose how can I say it? It'll be a big uh, a big milestone for me. So that'll be a big milestone once all the walls are up and the roof is on. Thanks for joining, guys. So who have we got? We've got a few today. We've got Stereo 84, Osborne, Foosh, Pete Dean. Thanks for joining. We've got Dragon, Ian Beats, Tony. Thank you very much, guys. So it's good to see a lot of people coming on and listening. So that's Project Spalding. That is moving along very nicely. I finally had Greater Western Water install a water meter. That was on Friday. So they called up and said they can fit it in a bit earlier, which was fantastic because now we have water on site and guys can start washing their concrete off their equipment a lot easier. I had to before that I had to go and get like 1,000 litre IBC and fill it with water, so the guys could keep washing all their stuff. And I know that's a bit of a pain in the bum. So now at least we've got proper tapped water on site, so the guys can use that to wash all their equipment. So the water tapping's done, and I also have on the way temporary power. So we've had the temporary power pole inspected It's passed, and now we're just waiting for a new connection from the energy company. So that'll be also good because then the guys don't have to keep using generators like they have been till now. So thanks to all the guys that are working on that project and for putting up with things. I know it's not easy, but yeah, the generators, you won't have to use them anymore after we get the power, and the rest should be all smooth sailing. So thank you very much. Merch, as you can see, Earthworks Hub, we do have our own merch. So if you're really interested in supporting Earthworks Hub, go onto the website www.earthworkshub.com.au and get yourself some merch. I've got t-shirts, t-shirts with this style, which is the Earthworks Hub with a cog around it. Then you've got just Earthworks Hub without this. You've got some with Earthworks Hub and then all the sponsors on the back. And I've also introduced hoodies, so you can get a hoodie now. And like I said last time, I'm going to get some beanies and hats made up, especially now that winter's coming up. I think beanies might be a hot item, so keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know once I've got those on there. So merch, what is next? Oh, I had a win this week. So on Instagram, we hit 2,000 followers. So a big thank you to all the followers on Instagram. I'm trying to keep all the material, varied and trying to keep everyone happy, trying to keep people informed on things. So hopefully the content, it looks like everyone's happy with what I'm posting, and I'm going to keep doing that. So thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. Even TikTok has actually gone up a fair bit. I think we're over 1,500 now. On YouTube, we're over 280 subscribers now. So just keep subscribing, keep following, keep liking. Thank you for the likes. I can see some more happening now. That stuff shows me that what I'm doing is being appreciated and people are enjoying it. So I'm going to keep doing things. So thank you for all your likes and follows, guys. So 2,000 followers on Insta. Very happy with that. Thank you, guys. So what else happened? So last week I was working on the basement. I did a couple of posts that they had a lot of interest. So obviously people like that sort of stuff. Basements are a big thing in Melbourne, especially. We do a lot of basements. He's saying FSA. He's saying nice. Thanks very much, man. Yeah, so we do a lot of basements in Melbourne. Depending on what suburbs, you can end up with a lot of rock, or you can end up with a lot of mudstone or clay. Fortunately, the suburb I'm working in is more sort of closer to the inner city, I suppose, in a way, not far from the city. So it's like starts off as clay, then it becomes like a mudstone, then it's like a clay stone sort of thing. It's very, very, very solid. So on my videos, you would have seen a big 35 tonner pulling out all the mudstone. And then I did a video on how I detail the walls between the piers. So a lot of guys like those videos. So I'm going to keep doing a bit more of that stuff. So yeah, everyone does it different. I had a few good suggestions from people. Very, very thankful that people are willing to give advice. Like I always say, you never stop learning. So thank you to everyone that was commenting. And yeah, look, I'm happy to try different things. Yeah, so a couple of guys were saying to use like a rock wheel or a rock grinder, so I might try that next time. But I did do one of those. I did use a rock grinder once on a basement where we had like full bluestone and basalt, and it sort of wasn't as effective. But I'll try it on the next clay one as well. So yeah, I was using a Case CX145, so I ended up using a 14 or 14 and a half ton case machine. Like I always say, one of my favorite machines in the 14 ton range. What do I like so much about it? I feel like in that 14 tonner, I feel like it's a mix between my 5 and my old 20 tonner. It's like the perfect mash. So it's like big enough to do the job of a 20 and pull out material when I need to, bulk out. I can load trucks with it or whatever. But it's also small enough that I can fit, and having that zero swing or minimal swing, I can fit in like little tight basements. I can dig and detail, and it's sort of sensitive enough to let me go into the corners and lightly pull material out without breaking away too much, instead of ripping it all out. So that's why I feel like the Case CX145 is good, and it feels stable. So it almost feels like I'm in a 20 tonner with a big rear end on it. So it's stable, but like I said, being that minimal swing, I can be up close to a wall and turn and not worry about scratching the bum or breaking something. So, and I can get up tight up against walls and then scrape out against the walls. So that's why I like that machine. Plenty of power. You can use all sorts of attachments on there. What have we got? So we've got a comment from Pete. Pete does a lot of basement work day in, day out. 14 ton is a perfect size while detailing under the capping beam and doing all your pad footings. And when there's a tight spot. Yeah. So yeah, no, thanks very much for agreeing, Pete. Yeah, they are. The 14 tonner is a perfect machine inside a basement. I've got my 5 tonner in there as well, and I'm doing some of the strip drains and things like that. But and the biggest problem with the 14 that I'm using is it doesn't have the offset arm. So it makes it a bit hard to do all the thickenings around the edges. So we're using my 5 tonner for that. But I've had to use the hammer to break away the clay or mudstone because it's just so solid. And if we try with the 14 from the side without the offset, I keep pulling out too much material. So I've got to be careful not to widen those thickenings too much. So if that had the offset boom, that would be the ultimate machine. CX145, rubber tracks, offset boom, perfect machine, man. Tilting hitch, that would be like the whole lot. So very happy with that Case machine. I started doing a bit of a review on it, and some people said you didn't finish it, and you're right, I haven't finished the review. The problem is that we're moving so fast with this basement that I can't afford to get out and keep doing reviews and talking because the customers, they're constantly trying to get me to keep moving. So I can't actually get out and record. I haven't got time. So and we're getting trucks and things. It's just all happening. So I will have to make some time, even if I have to stay back and just sit in the machine and just talk about it. But the Case CX145, definitely a really good machine. And it's not the first time I've used one, so I've used them a couple of times. I even used the Case CX235 not long ago. A lot of it was hammer work, but I did use it for trenching and stuff. And even the 235 was very good with the blade at the front. So I think overall the Case machines are pretty well built. And then somebody also asked a question on TikTok about how do we deal with the strip drains and where do they go? So I started doing a video on that. I haven't posted it yet, but basically we dig a groove in between each pillar. So the center of, we get to the center of each pillar, dig a slight little groove just wide enough, 200 mil, just say, to fit that strip drain in, and then dig it down underneath the thickening and out towards, into the floor of the basement. And then we'll do a stormwater trench like all the way through. So to join all those up. So that's what we'll do, but you'll see a video of that coming out shortly for anyone that is interested. So we had me doing that this week. I had a 35 ton there. He was loading all the trucks with all the material. So we had that going out. I did a couple of posts this week with some more things, some more stall holders that I saw during the Diesel Dirt and Turf, and that attracted a lot of attention. Sorry guys, getting a dry throat. I put out a few posts from some of the stalls that I looked at the Diesel Dirt and Turf. Some of them got a lot of attention. One of them was the concrete taxi. So these guys will turn up to a job and turn up with bags of concrete in the back of a truck, and it has a mixer attached to it, and then they'll mix the concrete as you need it. So a lot of guys are saying, why don't you just call a little mini mix truck instead and just have it turn up when you need it? Or why don't you just have the bags and mix them yourself? What are the actual benefits of having that concrete taxi there? Marchin, thanks for joining. So I've got a few people on now. So the benefits, I suppose, a lot of people have been saying that some of the benefits, thank you for the likes, are that you can mix the concrete as you need it. So you might need it there for most of the day and you don't need all the concrete at once. So if you call the little mini mix, you'd have to pay like a waiting time, and they wouldn't just hang around there all day. And if they just dumped the concrete and left, you'd be drying too quick. So I suppose the advantage of concrete taxi is that you can mix a couple of bags of concrete at a time if you're working in the backyard of a house, and then you just need to cart with a wheelbarrow or something, a couple of barrows at a time, and they can sort of hang around while you're finishing off and then come back to the front. So I suppose that's one of the things that I can see that would be a benefit of that. If anyone has any comments on that, let me know. Or if you've used them before and you want to give an opinion, let me know as well. Once again, thank you to the people that have joined. So we've got All Sorted Excavations, Ascend Earthworks, Caden, SCC Excavations. We've got Marchin, John, Gauchi, Jat, Contruden. So hopefully I got that right. Mandarin Jack still here. Thank you for the likes as well. I did also a post on an auto greaser from Alum Lube. That seemed to be a bit of a hit. I think it's a good thing to have on your machine, especially if you hate greasing, if you've got operators that you think may not get out and grease it as much as they should. I think putting in an auto greaser would be advantageous. I didn't get a price on it. That's probably one thing I should have asked, what the rough estimate is. But I imagine it would be good. I hired a 5-ton excavator once, which I've never seen an auto greaser on a 5-tonner, but this one had it. And it was good because for the whole time I had it, I didn't have to worry about greasing. So we just basically just got in the machine and used it every day. Didn't have to worry about greasing it at all. So I think that was a good thing to have. So the auto greaser from Alum Lube, Sawquip. I did one where they have the hydraulic saws that are attached to your machines. I've never used one of those, but I imagine it'd be really handy to have when you've got like a rural property where you got to cut trees down, and instead of doing it with chainsaws, just have it with your machine, and you can be in the comfort of your cabin, and you can close the cabin and have no noise, rather than being there with a chainsaw trying to cut it all. So I think that would be a big advantage, having the saw on your excavator. I also did one on the Piranha wood chippers. So they're an Australian-made wood chipper, which is good to see that we've got some Australian-made stuff still happening. Seems like a tough little unit, using a lot of good parts, and they made everything accessible. So all the filters and they are really, really easily accessed to do your servicing and that on there and repairs. I did one on the Case Minotaur, which is a DL550. So the Case Minotaur is it's like a mixture of a posi track and a dozer. It's an actual giant with steel tracks on it. It's like a giant posi track with steel tracks. I don't know what I was asking on my post. What application would you use it for? And we had a whole mix of answers. Some of the guys were saying you use it like a posi track or like a dozer, but you have the advantage of having a 4-in-1 on it. Other guys were saying that they're pretty useless. You'd rather just get a dozer then. So mixed results on that one. And then I had a sleeper grab. I did one on a sleeper grab. Chris Mercury, thanks for joining. All Trade Trailers, Caden, thanks for joining, guys. I think that the sleeper grab is a fantastic idea. So doing retaining walls myself, I know what it's like when you're manually lifting those sleepers, and especially the concrete ones, and you're trying to put them in between the beams and that, and catch your fingers and all sorts of stuff. So that sleeper grab would be perfect. Just hook it onto your hitch, lift each sleeper, put it on, and then move on to the next one. So I reckon that the sleeper grabs are a perfect idea, especially for landscapers, retaining wall builders. Why manually lift when you can use a sleeper grab? But you do have to be careful. You do have to be careful because I've heard that sometimes the sleepers can slip out of those grabs. So you just got to be really careful that you're not like standing under it or have it over your toes and stuff. Just be really careful. So that's the posts for the week. That's the update on the jobs that I've been doing. We had 2,000 followers for anyone that joined just recently. So thank you for the 2,000 followers on Instagram. Hopefully we get to 2,000 on TikTok shortly. I wanted to open up, actually, before I get to that, we have some more listings on Earthworks Hub. So apart from having Spartan Machinery, who sells Zoomline machines, thank you once again. Apart from having them come aboard, and they'll be listing their businesses on here shortly as well. But I've got the website open. We've had ACI, GPS Construction Equipment list. We've had True Excavations list on the website. Yeah, so that's ACI Contech. Who else have we had on here? Mills Excavation, and then we've had Even Financial and a couple of other guys on there. So guys, thank you for listing your businesses on the website. Hopefully you're getting some work out of that. I just want to remind everyone that, if you have a business, think about, how does everyone know about your business? How does everyone know that you exist? If you're not advertising, or if you haven't got a big range of contacts, they're not going to know about you. So the best way would be Earthworks Hub. Go on there, put your business on the site. There's a whole range of categories. You can put yourself in one of those categories, and then if people need your service or your trade, they'll look up the trade or service and you'll appear. So this is Australia-wide, earthworkshub.com.au. Make sure you list your business on there, especially in this quiet time. You can't go past at least trying to advertise your business somewhere where a lot of people access that information and look for things. I've already had guys that are listed on there saying that they've had a few phone calls and inquiries and things. So it's good. It's working, obviously. And the same, and vice versa. If you need any like trade or service for any of your projects, go to Earthworks Hub and try and use those services that are on there. So let's try and help each other out. It's the only way we're going to get through all this quiet period. DigTech, thanks for joining. Hulls Diesel, New South Wales Trucks and Forklift. Jess, Dylan, Kai. So we've got a lot of people on board. Thanks for listening. Now, speaking of that topic, it's a very, very quiet period. And I hear a lot of people in the industry haven't got work, or they're only working a couple of days a week. It is very, very quiet. And this is going to lead me to my topic for today. So I'll start off with this. And my topic's going to be how to get work in this quiet period. How can you try and keep going or keep your business going while we're in this quiet period? So I'm open to people making suggestions, but in between that, I'm going to go on and talk about some of the things or some of the ideas I have or suggestions for us to all try and keep getting work and continue our business in this really, really quiet time. Because this may go on for a while. I'm hearing stories about interest rates actually going up and people losing a lot more jobs. And if that's the case, for instance, if interest rates keep going up, that's just only going to deter people from building even further, which means we're going to have in the excavation or earthworks world less work for us to do. So I think it's important that we talk about what are the other options, because there's going to be a point where you may not have work for a few days or a few weeks even. So you got to think ahead and start planning a little bit. So especially if you have a lot of workers, I feel for a lot of the businesses that have a lot of workers on board, because you've got to keep them going and earning at the same time. So I do feel for you guys. So here's a couple of suggestions. One is probably a little bit biased, but I'm going to say advertise, and I'm saying advertise in general, but I'm going to also say advertise on somewhere like Earthworks Hub. You can go to the Earthworks Hub website, register, add a listing. There's a free version on there. So if you don't want to spend any money, there is a free version. So you can put in your business, what you do, and then pick a category so that people can find you. If you want to spend a little bit, I think it's $15 a year. So for $15 a year, I reckon it's worth having a go. Put your business on there. You can pick multiple categories. So, if you're a business that does concrete cutting, and you do a bit of excavation, or you're a landscaper and you do retaining walls and you do rock wall building and other things, you can pick multiple categories instead of just one. So for $15 a year, I think you can't go wrong. try it. Put your name, put your business on there, and see how it goes. So advertising, if you don't want to choose that avenue, or if you want another avenue and you already have chosen that one, you can go on and make a Google business page. You can go onto Facebook. You can advertise yourself on all the Facebook groups. So there's a lot of Earth Moving and Earthworks Facebook groups. Make sure you use your social media. So you may think that, oh, it's a waste, putting up posts. But if you don't put up posts, people don't know you're there. They don't know about you. So a lot of times I used to say, oh, you know what, when I'm putting up things on Eagle One Industries, no one's really like, I'm not getting any actual, physical work out of it. But a lot of times that keeps me in mind with other guys. So other guys, like old supervisors that I used to work for, or old customers, they used to remind them of me, and they'd say, oh yeah, that's right, Eagle One, I forgot, he's got a posi track, oh, he's got a 5-tonner, I'll go call him, that's right. You know what I mean? So if they see you doing some work in your posts, that'll remind them of you and what you do. Got a Diodoro Ted. Sorry, I don't know if I've said that right. Thank you for your comment. Hi from Adelaide. Subdivisions are busy here. What are they like in Victoria? Always work for excavators. So he's saying in Adelaide they're very busy. I would say in Melbourne it's really gone quiet. There's a lot of guys that haven't got work anymore. So in Melbourne, I can vouch for Melbourne. It is very quiet. Yeah, there's a lot of subdivision work has died off. New estates aren't really opening up. So that's why a lot of guys if I go onto Facebook, I see a lot of guys starting to dry hire their machines, or a lot of operators looking for work. So obviously they've been laid off. It's gone very quiet. And everyone I talk to in the industry always says the same thing. It's gone very quiet. People aren't building. Interest rates are high. So if they're not building, we're not doing new subdivisions. So it's very quiet. And a lot of people aren't renovating because they need that money to keep paying their houses off. So we're not doing a lot of residential work. So it is quiet. So what I was going to say is, yeah, you can advertise if you do want to try and, keep your business going. Places like Earthworks Hub. If you want to go onto somewhere like Facebook, put it onto Facebook groups. If you have social media, make sure you post things about, jobs that you're doing, show what machines you have, and you never know what you'll get out of it. Just keep posting. A lot of guys may say they don't want to work for plant hires, but that's another option. Register with all the plant hire companies. Even if you get 1 or 2 days a week, out of them, it might get you through. So try and use those plant hires to keep you going. Start calling some of your old contacts. Call some guys that you haven't spoken to in a while. Some of the old customers, like I said earlier, that you haven't worked for a while. Some of the old supervisors on jobs that you worked for. Even call some of your other friends that are in the industry, and they might say, "Oh, you know what? There's a job that I can't do. Can you do it for me?" Or they can't get to it because they might have a bit on. So make sure that you're calling people, contacting, make contact with someone every couple of days. Ring people, just say, "How you going? You know what I mean? Have you got much on? What have you got anything coming up?" You've got to keep that constant contact. Drop into sites. So I said this in another one of my podcasts. Drop into a site. If you're driving past a building site, go in and say, "Hey guys, do you need any earthworks? I've got this and this machine. Or have you got anything coming up, or another job somewhere else, or something you want me to quote?" So you got to drop in. If you see a civil site and you do civil work, drop into the site, introduce yourself to the supervisor, tell them what machines you've got, tell them how many workers you've got, what you can do, your capabilities, and then sell yourself a bit. You know what I mean? Tell them that you're looking for work. It's a little bit quiet, and some of them might actually put you on. So Ascend Earthworks has sent a comment. So Ascend is saying the work will come back. The government will have to build to keep up with the population. I've never got much out of social media, but talking to your suppliers can be a good way to gain leads. So that's true. So talking to your suppliers as well, you can get some good leads. I'll give you an example. I know someone that recently did a fence. I think they're called RMS fencing. They did an RMS fence install, and the guy where they bought the RMS fencing from, the supplier, actually said to them, you know what, I've got a couple of other customers, because he just sells the product, he's just a supplier. He said, I've got a couple of other people inquiring that have bought, that need fencing, that type of fencing done. Can you quote to get it to do that work as well? So now this guy's quoted a few jobs to do that same type of fencing, and he's won the work. So now that supplier has actually helped him get more work, and this guy hasn't done that type of work in the past, and now he's got more work out of doing that. So things can lead to another. There's a lot of retaining wall suppliers that they have a lot of customers come in and they buy the material from them, but they don't have an installer. So if you get to know some of the suppliers, they'll recommend you as an installer, if that makes sense, so you can go and quote jobs. Ricky Bobby is saying he's doing some extra work for major fencing companies and just drilling post holes. So that's it. So sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit. And if just say you're doing one type of work, you might have to try and do something a little bit different. So even if you haven't done that type of work before, you might have to think outside the box and go and try doing something different. So if you haven't done retaining walls before, talk to some retaining wall guys, ring up and say, because often they can't get machines. They're all, everyone's busy. So now if you call them and say, hey, do you need any help with some of your retaining walls? They might say, yeah. And you say, look, I've got an auger on my machine, I can drill holes for you. They might call you and say, yeah, come and do one of the jobs for me. And then, if you're doing subdivisions and suddenly it's quiet, call around all the landscapers, retaining wall guys, look them up on the internet, look them up on Google, look them up on Earthworks Hub, give them a call and say, hey, I'm free, I've got a machine, do you need something done? So, and then you might end up doing retaining walls after that. You might find it something better, something different. So, that's what I try a different job. The other options are if you're an owner operator and you don't have operators, so you've just got your own machines and you don't have work for those machines, you may have to, go and work for some mates. So go and see if some of your mates need an operator in the meantime. There's going to be a lot of guys that would love to have someone come and take over for 1 or 2 days a week so that they can have a bit of a break to go and catch up on things. So you'd be surprised how many owner operators would be happy to have someone come and take over for 1 day just so they can go and catch up on things, go be with the family for a day, or just have a break for a day. Go and operate for them. Sub yourself out as an operator. Maybe even try something different. Go and become like I don't know, a traffic controller. Go get some tickets. Become a traffic controller, or go and work. Get your tickets and go and sit on a roller, or become a labourer. Go to an agency, like an employment agency, and put your name down, and just work on other people's machines until there's enough work for you to recover and go back on your equipment. So this is like extreme. So if you're really, really struggling, you've got no work, suddenly they just tell you at 3:30 on a Friday, listen, we don't need your machine on site anymore. And then you've called around and nobody's got any work, and then you might have been home for a few days waiting, trying to call around and see that, and there's nothing for your machine. Then the longer you sit and wait, that's the harder it's going to be, and the more money that you're going to fall behind. And if you've got that machine to pay off, or you've got debts or home loans and things, you don't want to fall behind. So go and start putting it out there that you can operate for people 1 or 2 days a week if you need to, just to keep going. And then call an employment agency and say, look, I'm happy to operate for a couple of days just as a casual, and you'll be surprised, they'll have work for you. And if you're good and reliable and you're decent, they'll keep calling you. So that's some of the options that I would say you have. Go and get a truck license and go and do like truck driving for a while, even if it's doing like containers or something different, just to keep you going until you get some more work again. Because I think this quiet period is going to be ongoing for a good year or so. Because don't forget, even if they do start bringing interest rates down, and I said this in the last podcast, even if they do start bringing interest rates down, it's going to take a while for people to build confidence in builders and start building houses again, and then it'll be a while before all the paperwork gets done, before developers start releasing blocks and people start buying those and then doing their plans, getting the permits. It's going to be a while before anything really takes off. So I think we've all got to start looking at other options. And we've had someone say that in Adelaide they're quite busy. So you might have to, another option is you may have to go interstate until the work picks up back in Melbourne. So that's another option. So, thanks for joining. We've got JR Safety Co, Gary Not Harry, Fern Excavations, Excavating Solutions, Bobcat King, MDM Civil. So thank you very much for joining, guys. Good to have you all on here. We were just talking, howdy. We were just talking about some of the options that we have in this quiet period. So I was saying, if you have your own machines with or without operators, but if you especially have without operators, start subbing yourself out as an operator to other people. If you need to go and join an employment agency, just do casual work until it builds up again. Call all of your old contacts. Send out a mass text. So what I do every now and then is I've got a mass text that I send out, and it says, "Hey, how you been? It's Ivan from Eagle One. Just letting you know I've got this and this machine available. If you need something, let me know. Speak to you, hopefully hear from you soon." And that's it. And then I send that out to like 50 different people. So I think you need that as another option. So Bobcat King is saying he's flat out where he is. So it's funny, yeah, we get mixed opinions. Are you in Melbourne, Bobcat King? I think you're not in Melbourne, are you? It may just be a Melbourne thing. I don't know what's going on, but it is very quiet. Maybe things are different in other states. I know a lot of people are pulling out of Victoria because we've got all this land tax. Oh yeah, Bobcat King is in Adelaide. Yeah, so another person in Adelaide that's saying is very busy. So Adelaide seems to be very busy. Some of us might have to migrate to Adelaide to get work then. There you go. But there's an option. There are all the options there. I'm leaving it up to you guys now. So if you guys have any comments or any questions, I'm happy to start answering those. I've given you all a bit of an update about what I've done during the week, my projects, what I've been working on. We spoke about some of the options for getting through this quiet period. Bobcat King retracting now. He's saying it's very quiet. Doesn't want us all coming to Adelaide. You never know. There'll be a whole busload of Victorians coming down. So Gary Not Harry's saying quiet time is good to get on top of risk assessments and servicing of your machines. Hint, hint. So yes, it is. If you all are quiet, it is a good time to catch up on any maintenance or repairs on your equipment. If you need risk assessments, if you need to do some JSA preparation, or you need any of your swims updated and that, it's a good time to go back and recap. Even a good time to start reviewing and ringing around for different insurances, get some more quotes. Because I'll tell you what, man, insurance is crazy. I just paid my insurance for a 5-tonner and it was $4,000 for a year. I don't think I've ever paid that much, so I don't know why. I've got to go back and look at that. But I just paid $4,000 for a 5-tonner. That is ridiculous. What's everyone else paying? Is that the trend, or is it just me? I don't know what's going on. I need to have a drink after saying that. So yes, quiet times are good for that. What else is there? So what else are we going to talk about? I'm opening it up to you guys now. We've got some points that we can talk about, but I did want to get some interaction from you guys. Thank you for the likes. Again, I can see a lot of likes coming through. Is there a topic that anyone wants me to discuss? What have we got? Anybody want to talk about something in particular? Here we go. So Bobcat King, what is the best 6-tonner in your opinion? Oof, here we go. When you say 6-tonner, I suppose you could be talking about 5.5s as well. Yeah, I would say out of all the ones that I've operated, so I've operated a. I'll tell you what I've used. Yeah, around that mark you're saying. Okay, so I have used a Cat 5.5. I've used a Yanmar 5.5, Kubota 5.5, Kobelco 5.5, Case 5.5. Did I say Yanmar? And Komatsu as well. So I've used all those ones. Out of all those, they're all different. So I always talk about the Kubota, which is what I still have. The U55, very, very quick machine, although it's very rocky. So it's handy when I want to smash jobs out, but very hard on the back. So my back gets sore after using it for a while. You get thrown around a bit, especially if I've got a tilting hitch on it, so it makes it that little bit more sort of top heavy. Um, so I do have to be careful when I'm lifting up, buckets of crushed rock and that. Otherwise, the machine can easily overturn. But a very, very quick machine, so it's good to smash jobs out with it. The PC55 and probably the Yanmar. I'd say the PC55, I found that sort of the slowest out of the range. Like, I mean, slow as in slewing. So I suppose the benefit of that is that it made me slow down when I was using it, and I could think about the job a bit more, and I didn't have a sore back. So I wasn't, and for a zero swing machine, it wasn't bouncing around as much. So I found that to be a positive on the Komatsu, sort of a little bit smoother, easier sort of on the back, especially if you're in there all day. Um, the Yanmar, it was still pretty good. The Yanmar and the Kobelco are very, very similar to me. I found that they were good. The Yanmar, I was very surprised for a pure zero swing machine. I was very surprised how smooth that was, and how stable, I should say, for a machine that's very much zero swing, very, very stable, and still had enough power to do what I wanted it to do. I haven't tried a Volvo. So Bobcat King's saying he's tried most of them, and he likes the Bobcat and the Volvo. So there's two that I haven't tried. So I can't really give any advice or opinions on that. But the Bobcat and Volvo, two of the 5.5s that I haven't tried. The Cat was pretty good. I have to admit the Cat was pretty tidy as well. I don't know. I just think I don't know. Out of all of them, if I had to pick one, it'd be very, very hard to pick one. I think. I don't know. The Yanmar would be a pretty tight machine, but then the Kobelco was good. I used the Kobelco in one of my videos. I did a little drainage job with it, and we were in really, really. I think I might have said this in the last podcast too, but we were in a really tight little creek bed, putting in drainage and 600 mil concrete pipes. Tracks were like we had mud up to the cabin, and the Kobelco did very, very well. And that had a tilting hitch on it as well, and that had a 1500 muddy on it, which was pretty big, and still did really well. So the Bobcat King is saying the Volvo 58 is definitely his winner. It is definitely the fastest on the market, with no doubt. Okay, that's good to know. There you go. So I might have to try and get myself out onto a Volvo. I don't know, are they very rocky? That's the only thing I find sometimes with the quicker machines, that that means they get very rocky, and then they can be very hard on your back. So we've got a few more people that have joined. So we've got Kiwi Cans. Kiwi in Cans. Kiwi in Cans is saying the Kubota is not bad in his opinion. Yeah, look, I think the Kubota is good overall. I'm happy with mine, and I've had like one, two, probably about four Kubota 5 tonners. I had a U48, two U48s, a KX161, whatever it was, and I had the U55, and so obviously the Kubota's doing something right. I've enjoyed those machines. Just like I said, sometimes they're not as comfortable as I would think as I was in some of the other machines. And Bobcat King is confirming that the Volvo 58 is very stable, so that's good. Yeah, I might have to get myself in the Volvo. I think I know somebody that has a 5.5 Volvo, so I'll go and have a chat with them. Bobcat King is saying he thinks it's all just preference nowadays. They are all good. There is too much technology. So you're right. You're right. They are. There's a lot of technology in them. Like I was saying, the Yanmar I used and the Kubota and the Kobelco had the hose burst valves, and they squealed a lot. So every time I pulled the bucket up, and up close to the body, they'd squeal, and that. So I used to think I was overworking the machine, but it's just the way it is with the valves. Um, but I think overall, yeah, like you're right. You're right. A lot of the machines nowadays are very, very similar. Very similar. So Zoomlion are also coming out with a 6-ton machine. So in a couple of months, they'll have a machine out here, and I'm hoping to get first dibs on testing one of those, so I can let you know how they go. And a lot of these other Chinese brands are starting to bring in little 5.5s. So it would be interesting to see how they go. Bobcat King is saying they all copy each other and buy parts from each other anyway. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They do. A lot of them do swap parts around. So even with Zoomlion and that, I know they use some Kubota engines and stuff like that. So they do mix and match a lot of parts. If you all want to know, that's a Jameson. Very nice Irish whiskey. Uh, Kiwi in Kansas saying it's all down to the backup and service, and that is true. I have to admit, I had a fair few machines from Melbourne Tractors, and they always helped me out with whether it's servicing, warranty work. Dirt Pirate, thanks for joining as well. Yeah, whether Melbourne Tractors, all the machines I had, they were quick to come out and fix things. If they couldn't fix it, they'd give me some advice over the phone. There's been a couple of times where I had break-ins, and they've come just to help out and get the machine going until the proper parts turned up. So they've been pretty good. I have to admit. So you're right. It does make. I suppose it's all about the backup and service, and the after sales. All the things that go on after, because they're all pretty much of a muchness nowadays. Yeah, you're right. They're all there. I haven't used the Hitachi, so no one's mentioned anything about Hitachi. A lot of people say they're the cream of the crop, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Bobcat King says Yanmar definitely has one of the best engines out there. And look, you might be right, because they are using Yanmar engines across a lot of other machines, so there must be a reason. It's good that they are using Yanmar. Someone's just written, sorry guys, I'm reading. Kiwi and Cairns 12-ton and up for Hitachis. Okay, so you're saying the smaller ones might not be as good. Gary, not Harry, saying, what's your opinion on the Chinese non-mainstream machines that seem to be coming, like EBU? Well, yeah, you've got EBU, UHI, you've got Zoomlion, which are now a sponsor for the podcast. Hey mate, how you going, Dirt Pirate? Yeah, so I think the Chinese are moving in slowly. Like I said, if you attended Diesel Dirt and Turf, you would see there's a lot of Chinese stuff happening. A lot of Chinese parts now becoming parts manufacturers and that coming and doing sales direct here in Australia. So there's a lot of them moving in, selling their parts here. There's a lot of Chinese machine companies moving in and selling directly as well. And I think slowly they're going to make a move into the market. So yeah, even Ricky Bobby saying there's a lot of XCMG in Queensland. XCMG is popping up everywhere. So I think with the smaller machines, these Chinese brands are coming in and undercutting a lot of the mainstream manufacturers, and people might be willing to just pay that half price, use the machine while they can, and then just it might become a throwaway sort of item, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, if you can get a Chinese made machine for half the price, but it still lasts you 3,000-4,000 hours, and then after that you don't worry about it. It's a bit of a no brainer for some people, but there'll be guys that are still headstrong about their brands. So I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of these Chinese brands coming in. So HUW, so who is asking, is there much money to be made in the mines in Australia? As an operator, I would say yes. As an owner operator, I'm not sure. I think a lot of these mines probably have a lot of their own machines, but I know there's a lot of operators making really, really good money. I don't know if it's as good as it used to be. There might be a huge influx of workers there now. I'm not hearing much about it. Um, I think a lot of guys made their money already in all the mines, but I think there is still good money to be made out there. Ascend Earthworks is saying you're seeing a lot of Sanian XEMG, Zoomline also. They are keeping everything. Yeah, they're keeping all the pricing competitive, so that's good because Liam, how you going, Liam? Good to see you. Yeah, it's good to have some people keeping the pricing down and keeping it real because I do feel like a lot of these mainstream brands are starting to get a little bit out of hand. Like, the pricing of machines has jumped up so much that you used to be able to buy a 5 tonner not so long ago for like 80, 90 grand, and now they're all over 100 and something grand. And I know costs have gone up, but I don't think they've gone up that much that they can justify going up so high. Yet all of our hourly rates and all these other like costs haven't gone up at the same rate. So I think it's very, very hard. Ricky Bobby is saying owner operators do well in the mines, especially civil and vegetation work. Well, there you go. I always thought about getting some of my own machines up in the mines. I even had this thing in my head to go and buy like a 60 or 70 ton machine or an excavator and go and put it up in the mines, but I was never sure how it fully worked. I never really got into that field, so I never went ahead. But maybe that would have been a good option. Bobcat King, Sumitomo is definitely an underrated brand. I think you're right. Sumitomo, which also a lot of the case machines are based on the Sumis. I think they're a good machine. So I think I've got a couple of guys I know with Sumitomos, and they've never had any dramas. Always been happy with their machines. So yeah, no, I think Sumitomo is good. I actually on that CX145 that I've been using during the week, I noticed on the hoses. So looking down through the window at the hydraulic hoses, they actually say Sumitomo on them. So they're not really hiding that they use, the same parts or they're basically the same machines. It actually says Sumitomo on the hoses. So no, Sumi's are good machines. Bobcat King. Um, what else? So yeah, I think it's good that the Chinese brands are coming in and keeping it all competitive. I think I said in the last podcast as well, or the last live, Kinghorn, thank you for joining. Actually, Kinghorn, you've got a Volvo, I believe. I think you've got a 5 ton Volvo. What's your opinion on your Volvo? Um, because we were just talking about, and hopefully he's still on here. We were just talking about different 5.5, 6 ton machines, and we've had some guys say that the Volvo 58 is a very, very good machine. So I think you've got a Volvo, haven't you? So if you can confirm, let us know what you think of it. And Sumitomo, yes, they have been around for a long time. So yeah, I think it's time proven machines might be what is best for us. But if you look at like Hyundai cars, just say, and Kia and all those other brands, we all thought they were like crap cars and that in the past, and now everyone's buying them. Now they've become like just part of the norm, um, and we're buying them as the same as mainstream car companies. So I think that may happen with the machines, maybe, but I think not 100%, but I think it might. How are we going with time? Oh man, I've only got another 5 or 6 minutes. I'm gonna have to leave very shortly. Also seen Airman excavator starting to get on the market. Airman, yeah, I've noticed them around for a while. They have gone a bit quiet. They used to do a lot of advertising, but I haven't seen Airman advertised for a while. They used to be on Gumtree a lot, but I don't think people use Gumtree as much. And you know what? Actually, I said earlier, what are some of the other options that we have during these quiet times to make people aware of your business? Not Gumtree, but even Facebook Marketplace. You can put yourself up on Marketplace. Um, and that's free as well. So put yourself up there and say, give what services you offer, and people might start calling you as well. So Airman have been around for a long time, and they're just another Hitachi. Yeah, they are. They're very, very similar. I think they even have the Yanmar motor. Um, Neil Sutherland is asking, what are my thoughts on the Yanmar 2.8? I don't know. I don't know about the Yanmar 2.8. I've never used one. I've only always used like a 1.7 or a 5. So I've never, or a 3.5. This is probably the lowest I've been. So I haven't really used one. But I notice a lot of guys are buying those 2.8s, 2.5s because they can put them on trailers on the back of their cars. So it might be good as a machine that you can use if you need to cart it around with your your daily driving vehicles. But overall, I don't know if they've got the reach to put in material into tippers and stuff. That's the problem with those smaller machines. If you can't load a tipper, they become a little bit useless in some way. Oh, Kinghorn has let us know. So he loves the Volvo 58D. It's a solid build, heaps of power, large cab, and they also have a cool refuel pump on board. There you go. So there you go, from the horse's mouth. So Kinghorn does have one of those, Volvo 58. Loves the machine. So yeah, I think you could be right there. Was it Bobcat King that said Volvos were good? So it's good. Thanks for the heads up on that. Kiwi in Cairns is saying the Airman's been around since the early 90s in New Zealand. And Bobcat King is, yeah, so it was Bobcat King that said the Volvo 58 is good. So there you go. You can talk to Kinghorn and compare notes, but apparently the Volvo is good. So good to hear. Guys, I've only got another 5 minutes on my live, and I'm going to have to leave you. So I'll stay on for another 5 minutes. By then, I'll finish my scotch and I'll have to leave. Before we go any further, I do want to thank all my sponsors again. So thanks to Network Finance, JR Safety Co. So if you need any machine finance, Network Finance is the place to go. If you need any risk assessments, go to JR Safety Co. If you're looking at any machines like to buy equipment or like Positraks, excavators, Melbourne tractors, you've got Zoomline, which is Spartan Machinery. If you need any concrete work done, the Bolly Group will help you with that. And you've got Next Gen Landscapes if you need any landscaping done. So these are all my major sponsors. Thank you so much to them. Bobcat King is saying loves the Yamaha 55, but wishes the cabin was a bit bigger. Yeah, you're right. I did find the cabin not tight, but it was a little bit smaller. And it sort of was a bit rounded, yeah. So it made me feel a bit smaller because it was rounded. But yeah. And then what I liked about the Yamaha is they had all metal pedals as well. So in my Kubota, they're plastic pedals, and I've had them snap. Some operators must have obviously big feet and snap them, but the metal ones on the Yanmar and that are pretty good. I think Komatsu was the same. What else was there? Guys, you make sure that if you want to advertise your business, you can do that on earthworkshub.com.au. So make sure you register. So some guys have been registering but not actually adding a listing. So if you just register, it doesn't mean anything. It means you just you've registered with the site and you can get in there and do stuff. But you need to actually add listing. So click on add listing. You've got a free version, you've got a $15 a year version, and a $30 a year version. So the free version means you get to put your business on there and pick one category. So you might just pick, excavation or earthworks, or you might pick retaining walls. But if you pick the $15 a year version, you can put in multiple categories. So you can say, I do landscaping, we do retaining walls. You can say we do excavation works, basements. If you're a concreter, you can pick multiple things. If you sell stuff, if you're a seller and you're selling supplies, tools, equipment, workwear, whatever, make sure you go onto Earthworks Hub. And if you guys need stuff, so there's a lot of guys with machines listed on the Earthworks Hub already. If you need someone for your project, make sure you click on what state you're in, click on search, and you'll see all the people that are listed on there. Let's try and use each other and help each other. Earthworks Hub, yeah. What have we got here? Ricky Bobby saying he just got a Kubota U17 on the trailer for tight jobs. The trailer is awesome to tag behind the ute. I used to have a U17, awesome little machine, very powerful. And I think I said in my last podcast, when I used to turn up with my U17, people, I remember the look on their faces was like, oh, here we go. This guy's going to take 10 years to dig this out. And then once I start working with the U17, they'd be so surprised at how quick it can work and the power it had. It had so much power that if I'd be trying to lift concrete, it'd actually lift the whole machine up. That's how much power it had. So the U17 towed behind a 4.5 ton little tipper, perfect combination. You can load stuff on there easily. I used to load concrete in my little 4.5 ton tipper. Used to load dirt on there. The machine reaches over nicely. You could fit between. I used to fit between the fence and hot water units and pull material back to the front. Perfect little U17, perfect little machine for tight jobs. Yeah, and so surprising, Ricky Bobby. Yeah, I'll tell you what, people used to be surprised how quick that machine was. My U17, if that didn't get stolen, I think I would have kept it and kept going. But I sort of, after it got stolen, I sort of cracked the shits a little bit. Didn't bother getting another replacement, and then sold the little tipper, and then just concentrated on the bigger machines. But that little machine, yeah, used to do well, and I used to hire it out. So the good thing about the 1.7 is when I wasn't busy with it, a lot of plumbers and little backyard reno people used to hire that from me and rent it. So I had like a little secondary income, which was good. So yeah, I'm sort of spewing about that 1.7, but you know, things happen. What can you do? Yeah, and you can dry hire them on Facebook. And that's the other option. That's the other option, guys. If you're an owner operator and it's quiet and you don't have much work, advertise your machine for dry hire. Sometimes we've got to, and this is what I had, Inclusive Earthworks. Hello, hello, hello. I see you might have finished that job along the riverfront there. I go past and I see your big machine's gone. So it's good to see that you've progressed. Big project there, Inclusive. What I was going to say, yeah, so dry hiring your machine is another option. What I found very hard was to let go and say, you know what, let other people use my machine and just have a bit of trust in them. So I do have to admit, I dry hired a couple of 5 tonners at one stage. Oh, TikTok's going to end. I did dry hire my 5 tonners a couple of times and I sort of got put off. The last straw was when it got covered in concrete, so that was a one-off thing. But sometimes if you want to make a bit of extra income or your machines aren't busy, advertise them for dry hire and just let go and don't hold on to them so tight because you can make some extra money like that. You know, especially if there's not much work going on and someone's willing to hire it, just take the money, man. Go rent it out. As long as they're not breaking it, keep an eye on things. You know, you can't lose. So Kobe is asking on my thoughts on the Yanmar 5.5. Yeah, just a bit earlier, we spoke about different 5.5 tonners. The Yanmar was one of the ones we said sort of stood out. I like him. I like the new color. So you'll see one of my videos. So if you go onto my YouTube channel, you'll see I did a quick review on the 5.5, the Yanmar. But if you go on there, you'll see a little quick review on the 5.5. I think they're an awesome little machine. Very stable for a zero swinger and powerful enough to keep working. You know, like I did a massive deep trench over 2.5 meters deep with it, and the Yanmar didn't struggle at all. So I think they're a good machine. Guys, it is over an hour already. I need to start closing up. Make sure, before I go, I just want to mention again, make sure advertise yourselves, earthworkshub.com.au. If you want to buy some merch, support Earthworks Hub, go to the shop on the website. It'll lead you to all the products that we sell. Soon you'll have hats, beanies, Trying to put on a few other things there, so you'll see some more items very shortly. Thank you to everyone that's been following me. So 2,000 followers on Instagram. Thank you very much for that. Let's see if we can hit 5. My target is to hit 5. So 5,000 followers, that would be amazing. I want to try and get to that. Same as on YouTube. I want to try and hit 500. I need to hit at least 500 in the near future. So let's try. Keep putting it out there. Go there, subscribe, follow, like, share the shit out of all my material. If you want to be a guest on one of the shows, so if you want to be a guest on one of my podcasts, and you think you've got something interesting or some things you can share with the community, hit me up. If you want to want me to cover a certain topic, or you've got some feedback on some of my other content, let me know as well. Hit me up. But yeah, go through the website if you want to contact me, or email me on info@earthworkshub.com.au. Make sure you're following on YouTube, Insta, Facebook. There's a Facebook group now as well called Earthworks Hub. Spotify, Apple, all the socials. So TikTok, I'm on all of those. Make sure you're following me on everything. Share the Emil's joined as well. Oh, what a shame he's joined at the end when I'm wrapping it all up. But yeah, make sure that you're following on all the socials, and I'm doing these lives every week now. So make sure if you have anything that you want me to talk about, that you write it down. Boom! This guy's a legend. If you haven't heard of Emil Jurassic or whatever you want to call him, make sure you're following this guy. Absolute legend. Yeah, I think write down anything that you want to talk about next week as well. Every Sunday, I'm doing these live sessions. I've got a couple of good podcasts coming up with some guests that you'll be happy to hear from. And yeah, if you've got any feedback or suggestions, also hit me up. But I do need to go. It's been well over an hour. I've gone over my time. Guys, thank you for joining me. And hopefully you can join me next Sunday. I will speak to you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.